Hello, today we're looking at Merchants of Araby from Daily Magic Games. One thing to say about Merchants of Araby is the box cover is actually your... Oh, and I've opened it upside down anyway. I was trying not to do that. It's actually your game board as well. So the box is one of those magnetic clasps and your game board is on the back. Ooh, swanky. Let's have a look at how it plays. So this is the setup of Merchants of Araby. Sorry for the shadows, I'll bring things nearer that you need to see. Shadows, reflections. In Merchants of Araby, you are trading. This board is the outer wrap of the box, interestingly enough. You have all the components you see in front of you, as well as player screens. Player screens will go around your money. Money is the only thing you keep secret in the game. On your turn, you will do a number of things. What you are trying to do is get your camels onto caravans to give you the best chance to win. And the way you do that is by first, on your turn, any caravans you have, and apart from the first time, you will always have a caravan, you resolve. And I'll show you how you do that later on. Then you'll draw a new caravan. These are the caravans. So a caravan has a number of rows. Now the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are only to do with position. They're not to do with amounts or anything. And the 1, 2 and 3 are safer but generally get less money. 4, 5 and 6 and the 7, 8 and 9 are more risky and generally get more money. So that will go into your display next to your next to your merchant. Your merchant has a power, and it's a power you use when you tap the card. So for this guy, I'm not very happy with the light. Let's see if we can do something about that. We're gonna start again. So the light's there. Is it there? Even more so. If we do that, and we put things here. Better. So this is Merchants of Araby. The board is the outer wrap of the box, so that folds up around the box with a magnetic clasp. Here you have the kind of marketplace. In the market you have 4 different types of cards, although they may not be all out at once. You have jinns, which are illustrated by this symbol up here, so they're kind of the genies, and they produce a magic, and they're one-off use that you can use on anybody's turn. They cost a coin, but this symbol up in the corner here can also be used to pay for things from your hand. So if you have another card that costs a coin, you could use this Bountiful Magics to pay for that card by discarding it, and that works the same with every symbol. You have allies, which go into your tableau and have a tap power. So this one, you can tap it to receive 2 when you want to contribute to a product that helps another player to play a card. You have virtues, which are another type of one-time use, but they can only be played on your go. And that one's a magic one. Again, to pay for that, you will need to use that resource. And then we have more merchants. Now, to use merchants, to pay for merchants, you need 2. And so this one, you'd need to pay a resource of cloth and a coin. But if you want to use this to pay for something, you can only use 1. So those are all the cards. You start with a basic merchant that produces one of the things. 5 camels and 3 coins. All your money will be hidden behind a player tent, and that will never be revealed. Everything else is open information. So we can see 3 of the basic merchants here. They have produced different things. So let's get rid of them for now. Might want the camels again in a minute. On every turn, apart from your first turn, you will resolve your caravan first. So any caravan in front of you, you will resolve. Then you will draw a new caravan. So here's a caravan. It has the numbers 1 to 9 on it. These numbers are not important in terms of value. Well, they are sort of value, but they're more about placement. So 1 to 3 will generally earn you less than 7 to 9, but they're generally safer. What you are trying to do over the course of the game is get your camels onto as many caravans as possible in a scoring fashion. To score a caravan, you need to have camels on it in a row or column, and these can be anyone's camels. So in this go, these camels would score, but if there's any other non-completed columns or rows, then they wouldn't score. So we'll leave that like that for now, and we'll say, oh, well, let's say on this go, say we're a few rounds through the game, and I need to get a spice or a mint. My merchant produces that, so I tap him to produce that, and I put my camel on. Someone else's camel produces magic, and I say, do you want to come onto my caravan and produce some magic and score this row? And they might go, yeah, sure, like that. I might need to pay them to do that. I might need to offer them something more, but they might be tempted well enough because of the chance to score money on there. Going there would be fine if for whatever reason they were stupid and they went there. When this came to resolve, these 2 camels would be taken off because they're neither in a completed row or column, so they would be removed. So that's what your caravan might look like. So you resolve your caravan if you've got one. So let's resolve this caravan just to show you what that means. Bearing in mind you won't be doing this first go. You take off any camels that won't score. Then you draw the top card from the deck, which tells you, oops, not the camera, a number of things. It tells you where the bandits attack. So the bandits on this go are going to attack number 8. So number 8 comes off and doesn't score anything. Everything else scores for the value it's next to. So these will score 2 each, so white will get 4 and blue will get 2, and then blue will get 3 for that, and if there were any on the bottom they would have got 4 each. And that's how the scoring works. You take those coins behind your tent and you empty that, get rid of that caravan, and you draw a new one. These change, so this one is a 3, gets attacked and you get 3, 3, 4. This one is 7, gets attacked, you get 2, 4, 4. This one you get 5. Sometimes the middle row is worth more. And you can't really predict that in future. You just have to play by the odds that usually the bottom one would be worth more, but it's also the most likely to be attacked. So you would resolve your caravan, give out all the money, and draw another caravan. The caravans are also the timer for the game. Once we run out of caravans here, the game ends. The game ends. There are as many caravans in each pile as there are players in the game. Then you will refresh any actions you have in your you have used, and this could be more than one by this stage. And you will play as many cards as you want from your hand. You will task cards from your entourage on your turn, and you can do that. You can task each one because at the end of your turn you're going to refresh as well, and there's a reason for that which I will talk through. Then you can use these to add camels to your caravan, and you can negotiate to add your camels to other people's caravans and to add theirs to yours. And you're negotiating everything you can do legally in the game. Now, these icons cannot be used from your hand to produce that good. So if I had this travelling teacher in my hand, I can't say I'm going to discard her to get that gem. These are only used as cost and payment of cards. So I can't just discard her, but I could task that to get a herb for someone else, and so on and so forth. These things may be considered to be worth money. If you want to put your camel on someone else's, they may ask for a money donation as well. They may ask for a card from your hand. They may ask that you, in a future round, task one of your merchants for them. They could ask for lots of different things. As long as they're legal in the game, you can ask and negotiate for anything. Future promises do not have to be kept, so if you make a future promise, just beware. After you finish negotiating, you will refresh your entourage so that you can use it for one of the other players. So on other players' turns, they may need the things you've got in their caravans, and they may ask you to use them to put camels into their caravans to fill up lines, or just for one of their camels. They may say, can you produce this cloth for me and I will give you 3 money. And you might say, well, that could be quite good because a lot of the cards give 2 to 4 money out. I've only seen one with 5, so yeah, I'll take that 3 money. Once you've finished all your negotiating and refresh your cards, you then draft 2 of the cards from the middle and replace them from the deck here. And that is essentially it. Once you've played through all the caravans, you have one final round, one final resolution of all of those caravans, and you count up the money, and the person with the most money wins. That's how to play Merchants of Araby. So Merchants of Araby is a pure trading game, essentially. Each turn you're getting those caravans out that you want to fill up. You want to fill at least a row or a column, and you want as much as your camels on that as you can. But if it's between that and not getting anything at all, it's better to get someone else to get their camel on there. So you offer them all kinds of stuff, and sometimes just saying, do you want to take that space is enough, because otherwise they don't get any money. But sometimes, especially later on in the game, when you see who's taking the most money and someone says, would you like this space? You kind of look at the other people involved and go, no thanks, I think I'm going to go on their one, because you want to cut that person out all of a sudden. So it starts off more friendly as people kind of learn the value of things. It is a game where I would say the value of things really depends on the group and how nasty they are. But as with any trading game, you need to work out the value fairly early on. You need to work out if 1 coin is enough to bribe someone, or if you've got enough money that you think you can, you can afford to do that because you'll get more back. There is an element of chance still with the bandits who come in and take one of the camels off, or attack one of the squares and take a camel off it. So even if you're offering those higher, those more reward, what am I trying to say? The spaces that give you more rewards, then you have to be aware that you might get taken off that space by a bandit attack, and there's no way to predict that, it's just luck. So ideally you want to get 2 on that bottom space. Sometimes the middle space is more valuable than the bottom space, rarely, but sometimes. So there's all those kinds of things to kind of work out. I really like the engine building of the game. There's no limit to what you can do on your go until you've exhausted everything. So you'll tap your cards, turn them aside to indicate that they've been used. And again, it's a bit lucky which merchants, allies and one-time uses come up. But you can really trigger off a load of stuff and start filling up your caravan and someone else's caravan, because this is your only chance to fill your caravan. You might get chances when other people go to activate, but only one, because you don't refresh your cards again until the start of your go. But it just works really nicely. I was really surprised because the rule book, for whatever reason, I really struggled with it. I think because it's so focused on the trading, and although there is engine building as well, I think because it's so focused on trading, and the trading is quite loose, you can trade most things that aren't illegal in the game. You can trade a future promise that you then don't have to keep. So maybe it's that looseness tied to the engine building, which is quite tight, that made it a difficult read. But once I sat down and played it, it was very enjoyable. It says players 2 to 5. Any trading game is going to struggle at 2. 3 is good fun because you have that playoff where you're teaming with one person one time and then the other person the other time, and then, you know, obviously someone takes a lead and you're like, right, we need to stop that guy scoring money, but then one of you is going to become more powerful and the alliances shift and change. But obviously it's a game that is more fun at higher player counts. The game can bog down if people are really into their negotiations and really committed to you know, pulling a fast one on someone else, and if they're really arguing about and refusing to accept that someone said, no, I'm not going to put my camel out on your one, you can get stuffed. So it can bog down, but if you've got people who you know, accept those things, accept that you've made 2 offers, you're not going to go on it, which my group generally does, then that's going to be fine. I guess the meaner your group, the longer it's going to take in a lot of ways. But yeah, I've been generally quite impressed with the gameplay. Intimidation factor, I think for me it was quite high because outside of something like Sheriff Notting, which is the bluffing and the offering of promises when you're the sheriff at least, but isn't the trading in the same way between players. It's quite a different one to the ones I normally play, and there is a few icons and stuff to learn, and power cards and allies and merchants and all that. It's nice that you can use the cards for what so they've all got a cost, but when they're in your hand you can use one card that costs a coin to pay for another card that would cost a coin, or one that's got 2 symbols on to part pay for one. So so that's quite nice as well. But yeah, the intimidation factor is there. The rulebook isn't great. I just think the layout, the font, all that stuff, it could have been a lot clearer with kind of more solid examples. And I appreciate that's difficult with the looseness and the tightness going on at the same time. I had a lot of fun playing this. Like I say, I didn't even bother playing it at 2 players. It is more fun the more players you play, but there's a lot of fun to be had here. Would I add it to my collection? I think I would. You know, it might be at that kind of bottom rung in danger of being passed out of my collection once I hit my collection cap. But I think I would add it to my collection as it stands now. I think it does enough different stuff and is enjoyable enough, and with guys I play with passes fast enough to be worthwhile. Obviously, if you're not into mean games, if you've got a group that just like to one-up each other all the time, this could run a long time and maybe isn't the game for you, but I've been quite impressed with it. That is Merchants of Araby. Thanks very much for watching Board Deck and Dice. We'll see you next time.